Peace and love, y'all. What's going on? This is Javon Dr. Love Jones. We're here on the 30-day content creation challenge. Make sure y'all subscribe, comment below, and let's chop this up right here. All right. So, like the video. I don't think that gotta be said, but hey, let's say it. So today we're gonna be talking about emotional intelligence, and with emotional intelligence, oftentimes what people don't realize with emotional intelligence is that they actually work together beautifully. See, there was a point in time, especially when I was growing up, that emotions and intelligence didn't mix. Matter of fact, you need to rely on your intellect, your intelligence. There's no, the idea of being emotional was actually a bad thing because your intellect is what's superior. So focus on your intellect. But when you get older, you start to realize, emotions is important. You don't the often issue with men is when you minimize emotions, then you lower a functionality that is important to who you are. So emotional intelligence now comes in is that you're using your emotions to guide you through a situation or through experiences or what you're dealing with, right? Emotions matter. Compassion is a beautiful emotion. Happy is a great emotion. Empathy. All these terms are great intuitive terms. These feelings, these emotions. The thing that I want people to understand about emotions is that not everything needs to be one or the other. You need to stop with this idea. Let's find how two things can work together in harmony, right? Let's find a dichotomy in two things, in two opposing things. Find that point where everything meets. The thing that we want to understand is that with emotional intelligence, what it does, it shows you how to respond opposed to react. Usually a person with low emotional intelligence, they are reacting. Perfect example, right? Someone does something to you that upsets you. So now you go and do something to them to upset them. Now they get upset, and then now it's a back and forth. And you know what that is? A race to the bottom. Whenever you're going back and forth with a person, you're a race to who could get to the lowest of the low. And the person who gets to the lowest of the low wins. If you notice, I said wins because who wins hitting the bottom? So, but when you're in that emotional state, I'm saying that from a logical standpoint, but if you're like if you have low emotional intelligence, then you're going to go back and forth because at that moment you're trying to win and you're trying to show you're supreme, and a person should never have to come at you crazy again. So you're gonna make an example out of that person who offended you or who upset you. But what if that person beat you, right? What if that person beat you to the bottom? It's a lose-lose situation. Why? Because whoever wins loses. Let me make sure I do this. Whoever wins loses. Whoever loses loses. There's no winner in going into a bottom race because you're racing to the bottom. Right? So what's the win in that? So emotional intelligence teaches us is to use your emotions, but to navigate you to a better solution or to a better response to a situation. So let's just say, somebody say something offensive to me. If I have a low emotional intelligence, I'm gonna try to clap back. Let them know that, yo, you do this. And hey, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. Sometimes you need to clap back. I get it. But that is the low emotional response. The best emotional response, emotional intelligent response, is when you actually do this. You actually acknowledge how you feel, but you use that to make a point. You use that to now get that person to either be on your team or to cast them off as the negative energy in this space, right? So let's look at this scenario. Let's say a scenario. Matter of fact, I tell you why I do my job. I work at Valet. So I had a guest that just came to me and they wanted me to get their car. And they showed me a ticket. I mean, they didn't have the ticket that they got to show me to get their car. Because when you do valet, you got to have a ticket so that we know it's you and we know it's your car. Didn't have the ticket, so when I said something, she got very upset. So I'm like, hey, I explained, hey, this is security purposes. This is me doing my job. She was not having it. And at that point, she was starting to be picky, right? Now, I'm at work. So obviously, clapping back is off the table. But oftentimes, there are co-workers of mine who would respond unkind to a guest and they will get in trouble. They would get written up because there's a no-no. You still got to treat guests with respect and you can't just go into emotions like that. So my situation, I explained to the situation. When I realized she's getting testy, I walked away and I still treat her respect. She had a granddaughter with her. It was a daughter and granddaughter. Daughter was cool. Granddaughter was a sweetheart. She was a young, she was like 6 or 7, right? So I still show respect. They got the car, opened the door, did all the things. She went upstairs, came back to me and says, I want to apologize to you. How I act was inappropriate and it's not fair for me to take whatever I was doing with that on you. And when I told her, hey, I appreciate it, it's cool, we good, she's like, no, it's not okay, it's not cool. I was wrong and I want you to know that that's not acceptable. So I explained to her, like, look, I get it. That is not, I'm with you. It's not, but the fact that you acknowledge it, I respect it and appreciate it. Thank you. And we had a nice exchange and we didn't have no issues for the rest of her stay. My point is this. Emotional intelligence allows you to acknowledge how you feel, but still respond with the right purpose and not allow your emotions to dictate it. It's not like I responded in a professional manner. Why? Because though she was giving off this energy at me, she wasn't talking to me. It wasn't about me. I didn't do anything to her. So I shouldn't have ever took it personal in the first place. And I want y'all, anytime that someone says or does something unkind to you, did you do something to them? Most times it's not. They're having their own frustration, their own moments, and the emotionally intelligent to do is to step back in a moment, acknowledge what you may feel, because it was frustrating. Matter of fact, it was on Christmas when this happened. And I didn't have a particularly Christmas because that was my first Christmas without my grandmother. But yeah, so I had to process what was going on, but I didn't take it personal because at the end of the day, I know it's not going to be for me. Anyways, my point is to learn how to use emotional intelligence. In these upcoming videos, I'm going to tell you ways to develop more emotional intelligence. I will do a breakdown on that. But make sure y'all subscribe to this channel so you get more of these videos. Peace and love. Have a great one.